Marcus Webb stood in the sterile white chamber of the Galactic Tribunal, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. The silver star pinned to his chest caught the artificial light, glinting against his plain gray shirt. He'd worn it every day for 32 years, since the day they'd pulled him from the wreckage on Kandahar Station, the only survivor of his platoon. Judge Veltara, a Corthian with iridescent scales that shifted from purple to blue, peered down from her elevated platform. Her 3 eyes narrowed as she noticed the decoration. "Human," she said, her translator converting her clicks and whistles into flat, emotionless standard. "Remove that primitive ornament from your person. This tribunal does not recognize your species' barbaric military honors," the gallery murmured. Over 300 beings from 40 different species packed the observation deck. Most had come to watch the first human trial under the new Galactic Concordance laws that explicitly prohibited humans from holding positions in interstellar security forces. Marcus didn't move. "Ma'am, with respect, this stays on." Veltara's scales flushed crimson, a sign of anger among her kind. "You will comply with this court's directives, or you will be held in contempt. Your species' obsession with warfare and violence has no place in civilized space. That symbol represents everything the Concordance seeks to eliminate." "This symbol," Marcus said quietly, his voice carrying in the silent chamber, "represents sacrifice. It represents 19 men and women who gave their lives so that a colony ship carrying 12,000 Corthian refugees could reach safety." The murmuring grew louder. Veltara slammed her gavel equivalent, a resonating crystal that sent harmonic waves through the room. "Silence. The incident you reference has been re-examined by this tribunal. Our findings indicate that human aggression escalated a situation that could have been resolved diplomatically." Marcus felt the anger building in his chest, but he kept his voice level. His therapist had warned him about this. The tribunal wanted him to explode to prove their point about human volatility. "Judge Veltara, those weren't diplomats firing plasma torpedoes at unarmed civilians. Those were Havlic's raiders, and we stopped them." "You murdered them," Veltara corrected. 47 Havlic's personnel were killed in your assault. 47 pirates who were about to slaughter 12,000 innocents, Marcus shot back, including, if I recall correctly, your younger sister and her children. The chamber erupted. Veltara's scales went pale, a Corthian sign of shock. She hadn't expected him to know that detail, to have done his homework. Marcus had spent 3 months preparing for this tribunal, reading every brief, every deposition, every piece of evidence. "That information is sealed," Veltara hissed. "It was," Marcus agreed, "until someone leaked the real casualty reports from Kandahar Station. Funny thing about the truth, Judge, it has a way of getting out." Behind him, Marcus heard the door open. He didn't turn around, but he recognized the footsteps. Ambassador Chen, Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, had arrived, right on schedule. Ambassador Chen strode to the center of the chamber, her formal robes flowing. "Your Honor, I apologize for the interruption, but I bear urgent information relevant to these proceedings." Veltara looked flustered, her scales shifting rapidly through colors. "Ambassador, this is highly irregular, as is conducting a trial with a prejudiced judge," Chen interrupted smoothly. She held up a data crystal. "This contains communications between Your Honor and the Havlic's Coalition, dated 3 weeks before the Kandahar incident. Communications in which Your Honor provided intelligence about the refugee convoy's route and defensive capabilities." The chamber went silent, every eye fixed on Veltara. That's a fabrication," Veltara stammered. But her scales had gone completely transparent, the Corthian equivalent of a human going white as a sheet. Chen continued, her voice like steel wrapped in silk. "It also contains evidence of subsequent payments made to Your Honor's accounts. It appears the Havlicks were paying you to ensure their raid succeeded. Kandahar Station was supposed to be an easy target. What you didn't count on was Sergeant Marcus Webb and his platoon being stubborn enough to fight against impossible odds. Marcus watched as Veltara's entire career crumbled before his eyes. Security officers were already moving toward the judge's platform. The other tribunal members were conferring rapidly, their faces showing various species-specific signs of shock and outrage. The Havlicks wanted revenge, Chen said, addressing the gallery now. They wanted Sergeant Webb discredited, imprisoned, preferably executed. They wanted humanity painted as violent monsters so no one would question what really happened at Kandahar. And they found a willing collaborator in Judge Veltara, who was all too happy to advance her career by betraying her own people and perverting justice. Veltara made a move toward her escape platform, but Corthian security had already blocked the exits. She turned back to Marcus, her 3 eyes filled with venom. You humans are all the same. You can't let go of your wars, your violence, your precious metals. You're right, Marcus interrupted. I can't let go. Every time I look at this star, I see 19 faces. I hear 19 voices. I remember 19 friends who ran toward danger when every instinct told them to run away. He stepped forward. But I also remember 12,000 civilians who got to live because we made a choice. Your sister got to live. Her children got to grow up. And you thanked us by trying to erase what happened, to rewrite history so your corruption wouldn't be exposed. The lead security officer placed restraints on Veltara's appendages. She didn't resist, her fight gone. As they led her away, Marcus finally allowed himself to relax, his hand unconsciously moving to touch the silver star on his chest. Ambassador Chen approached him, a slight smile on her face. You handled that well, Sergeant. Marcus, he corrected. I'm retired, ma'am. Not for long, Chen replied. The council is reconsidering the concordance laws. Turns out when you expose that the main architect of anti-human legislation was a paid conspirator working with pirates, people start questioning her motives. She paused. There's talk of establishing a joint human-alien security force. They want experienced personnel. Interested? Marcus looked down at his silver star one more time, thinking of his platoon, of the sacrifice that had been nearly forgotten. Will I have to take this off? Chen shook her head. Not a chance. Wear it with pride. As they walked out of the tribunal chamber together, Marcus could hear the gallery erupting in discussion behind them. The truth was out. Justice had been served. And the silver star on his chest felt a little less heavy than it had when he'd walked in. Some honors, he reflected, were worth fighting for.